Hey, what's happening out there? This is Halftime Prep Talk. We're here in the Daily Independent Conference Room where you haven't seen us come from here in a while, but this is Zack Klemme. To my left is Matt Sparks. I'm Aaron Snyder. As always, HTPT is brought to you by Fannin Automotive Family. Look at the Chick-fil-A ticker at the bottom of your screen. We're going to preview the Girls Sweet 16 today. We're also going to recap what Russell just accomplished in the 16th Region Tournament. And I don't know if any of us or too many of you guys out there envisioned what the Lady Devils were going to do, but they sure achieved something pretty special. They won their first region title since 1994. And in a little bit, we're going to hear from Coach Mandy Lane and the MVP of the tournament, Maggie Jackamsuck. I went over there Monday to Russell High School to talk to them. They took off on Tuesday, and tonight they're going to take on Holmes. But let's recap the 16th Region Tournament first, guys. And just talking about the girls, just an impressive win over East Carter, but it was more than that, too. They had a good tournament all the way around.
Yeah, you knew whoever would come out of the 16th Region this year would be battle-tested, and Russell certainly was. Had to fight off a pretty good Rowan team there in their second round game, and were able to take care of that, a Rowan team that was playing its best basketball toward the end of the year. Now, of course, Russell and East split in the regular season. People lose sight of that because of how badly East beat Russell in that second game by 36 points. But they were two teams that were pretty evenly matched, really, in their first game, and Russell just was taken out of its game so quickly in that second game that they were not able to give a good accounting of themselves. But they had confidence. They'd beaten them the first time, and that second loss to East really kind of got in their heads, they said.
Some impressive performances, not only from Jackamsuck, like I mentioned, the MVP, but Madison Darnell and some others off, that you wouldn't necessarily pinpoint, kind of off the radar until the region tournament.
Well, when you talk about Russell, you talk about Madison Darnell and Maggie Jackamsuck. But in tournament play, you need other players to step up, and Ty Mitchell stepped up with her defense, of course, and I thought Rachel Michael stepped up her game a little bit, especially on defense, and she also scored some big buckets for them.
Yeah, Michael made the all-tournament team. That's something that you look at Madison Darnell, how far she's come along. A sophomore 5'10" guard, there's a lot of value in that. Mm-hmm. And also just, I talked to Coach Lane the other day, and she just said that, her skills have always been there, but confidence has really just skyrocketed for her over the last year. Interesting person, too. She's a well-rounded student. She actually left the celebration early so she can study for a biology test. Okay?
Wow.
So Madison Darnell is dedicated in more ways than one, not just on the court. She's also an accomplished cellist. Apparently, she was performing in the all-district orchestra the first meeting against Rowan County. The last meeting against Rowan County, she was a star. 25 points, 7 rebounds, 5 steals, 5 assists, and a block against the Lady Vikings.
Very good basketball player. When Russell is going well, it's not just the Maggie J show. They're getting stuff from their guards. They're getting contributions. Occasionally, they get a little bit one-dimensional, but when they're getting contributions, like Matt said, from several different sources, they are as well-rounded as a team, certainly around here.
Matt, were you a little surprised at the outcome in the 16th Region Tournament?
I wasn't really surprised that, in the semifinals, you would expect those teams to be there. Those 4 teams, Boyd County, East Carter, Rowan County, and Russell, they combined for 90 wins in the regular season, so you're not really surprised that they were there. Maybe a little surprised maybe that Russell made it all the way to the end of the championship, but Russell had been playing probably their best basketball of the entire season right here in the last week. Since the since the East Carter game, they kind of just sparked a fire into them, and they're playing some of their best basketball.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. They had that defensive switch that they made midway through the third quarter against East Carter. They went to a 1-3-1, and it had some, nuances to it, some intricacies to it that it was hard to detect for East Carter, and they were limited to 1 bucket. Now, I went to the free throw line several times, but limited to 1 bucket over the final, 16 minutes of the game.
Well, Christian May was just eating their lunch early. It's hard to guard her one-on-one. They came out, tried to go man early, and just that zone kind of gummed up East a little bit. They weren't hitting jump shots. They were getting a little bit of penetration, but they weren't finishing at the rim, and it was just a matter of East shot, I think, 25% for the game. It's difficult to win a championship game when you shoot 25% from the field.
And I think that turn on defense too has helped them on the offensive end as well. Russell, they were really aggressive to the basket and really got East Carter in some foul trouble there, and really kind of hurt them at the end.
Yeah, East was in a lot of foul trouble in its interior, and that hurt them as they were trying to defend Jacobsuck. I think all three of their post players finished with at least 3 fouls, I think, and got them early in the game as well. So
Absolutely. The championship win occurred on Sunday in Moorhead. I went over to Russell High School on Monday afternoon to see, if it had actually sunk in yet what they had just accomplished. So let's hear from Maggie Jacobsuck and Coach Mandy Lane.
It's just pretty special, it's just a great feeling, and to think that, the kids just worked so hard to pull it off, and the reception's just been awesome, from the community and just even outside of the community, the other coaches in the 16th region, and they've been, really nice with us winning and stuff.
Just 2 days to prepare now for Holmes. What do they present, and what are you guys really focusing on in practice?
We're going to take care of the basketball, so we're really going to focus on our press offense. And they like to drive the ball right down your throat. So we are going to have to work probably on our zone, and most importantly, we're going to have to box them out. They're a really good offensive rebounding team.
It's been overwhelming. It's really still fully hasn't sunk in, but it's just a great honor to be able to represent the 16th region, and just all around just feels great to be able to do that.
What kind of challenges does Holmes present the next team you got to face at Sweet 16?
We watched a couple minutes of film, and they look like a really physical team, but I think we can hang with them. We're quick and stuff, so I think with the right amount of preparation, we can do this.
You guys have won 7 in a row now. You think back to that Ashland game that you lost 37-35. How did that kind of be? Was that kind of a turning point for you guys?
Not really. I think the turning point was the East Carter game, but the Ashland game was good, I think, because it told us that we were so close to getting over the edge, and with that loss, I think it really helped us to keep going.
How excited is just the student here at Russell? What was today like, being in school? What was everybody saying?
Oh, they were just congratulating me. It was like every time I walked down the hallway, it was like, congratulations on the win. I'll be there watching you, and it was just a great feeling.
All right, Northern Kentucky University is the site. A couple storylines here. It's the first trip for Mandy Lane as a coach to the state tournament, but she's been there as a player as Mandy Sterling for the West Carter Lady Comets in 2000 under the direction of Hop Brown, won the whole thing. So she has some experience, and I talked to her, the other day, and she said that it definitely helped her, even though it's been 16 years ago, just being under the tutelage of Hop Brown helped shape her as a coach.
Yeah, and she's really been through the wars as a player and as a coach. She's pretty young still, but you forget about that based on just how much basketball knowledge and experience she has, how long she's been in it. It kind of reminded of that story Tim Carper likes to tell about Hop Brown said late in that state tournament, I've got underwear that are older than some of these players. And so you kind of think about Mandy Sterling was an older player on those teams, but there are a lot of younger players in that time, and she's just really kind of made her living in basketball in this area and has coached for a while, pretty much right out of high school, and she's been around the block a little while.
Yeah, and Coach Lane, she played at Northern Kentucky University, so going back to the college campus where she once was.
I think that experience can only help maybe a team that hasn't been on that stage before kind of handle the pressure, especially maybe in certain game situations. She's already been there and already experienced that, so you can help them. Holmes has already played on this arena just last week when they won their region title, so they're already used to those surroundings too. So that's going to be maybe a slight edge for them, especially when they play Wednesday night.
And the ninth region, being right down the road from the arena, that has to be a little bit of an advantage. It didn't matter last year. The ninth region still won the state tournament down in Bowling Green. Covington Holy Cross won the state championship last year. So Holmes this year, 17-0 inside the ninth region, 28-4 overall. Very balanced scoring overall. 6 players between 7 and 14 points a game. Several of them can get up and down the floor. they're pretty athletic. They like to press for 32 minutes.
It's not something you see a whole lot of in this region, and so it will definitely be different for Russell. Of course, Coach Lane told you what reminds her of Holmes is Bowling Green, and maybe if you look at that result, that's not overly encouraging going into it. But it's good to have seen that that's a different style. They're from Western Kentucky. Holmes is from Northern Kentucky. You see a different style of basketball, and that always makes you more well-rounded in this situation because you can't simulate what Holmes does in this part of the state, at least not really anybody we've seen.
Right. Madison Darnell had kind of an interesting assessment. She said that Holmes kind of looks like a hybrid between East Carter and Rowan County, two teams that they had just faced. So maybe that could help. They're a physical team too.
Well, you could say that Holmes kind of came around to Russell too. They really rely on their starters. They like to get up and down a little bit. They really rely on their guard play, just kind of like what Russell does. And I think that's why Russell's guard play defensively will be huge in this game because they really rely on their guards, Holmes. I think that their guards are their top 2 leading scorers too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Holmes coach Tony Perkins said that they had to kind of overcome some obstacles against Ryle in the championship. They, encountered foul trouble early. Their leading rebounder was, saddled with 2 fouls very early in the game. And, they just adjusted well and acclimated, and they went from their press to a 2-3 zone, and it still paid off for them.
You have to remember, too, this is Holmes. Holmes hasn't been to the state tournament in a while either. This is their first trip to the state tournament since 2002. So they're, none of those girls maybe have been used to this stage as well. So it's going to be more like an even kill there.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Looking across the board, several teams that are obviously on a roll. I mean, who isn't going to the Sweet 16 tournament? But, several teams with at least 25, 26 wins, some impressive records. Murray has the best record. They're 33-1. I don't know if I can pick a favorite. There's several teams that could come out ahead in this.
There's just a lot of really good girls basketball teams. You think 2 or 3 years ago there was a Marion County team that went undefeated throughout the whole season, and nobody even played really exceptionally close to them, if I remember correctly, within the state of Kentucky. This is one of those years, kind of like the 16th region across the state. There may not be an overwhelming favorite on paper. To me, that makes for a much more interesting tournament.
No doubt.
Well, you really can't say there's a good draw for anybody in the state tournament.
No.
But a lot of the top teams, as you mentioned, maybe the top teams in the rankings are in the bottom half of the bracket. So they'll play each other before maybe you'll see them in the semifinals. Murray's a good team. Elizabethtown is probably more like could be a favorite too. They were the favorite last year, but lost in the early rounds. So maybe favorites, you can't really play too much on that. But they will be battle tested come out of that bottom bracket.
It's a fun time of year. Russell, I know the whole fan base is excited. The students are excited. The players walking up and down the hallways on Monday and Tuesday getting congratulations. They had a big send-off on Tuesday. So it's just an exciting time. It's like Coach Lane said, it's like Christmas this time of year for basketball coaches and players. So we're going to see what happens, and next week we'll come right back here or somewhere. I don't know. We might be at Boyd County. We might be at Elliott County. We might be right here coming at you again to preview the Sweet 16 boys tournament, which will be at Rupp Arena starting March 16th. So until then, HTPT is sponsored by Fannin Automotive Family. From Zack Klemme, Matthew Sparks, I'm Aaron Snyder. We'll see you next week.